Here's a template for a policy. There's many different types of policies, different forms that a policy can take. What I mean is you can have a policy in a database where you can just go ahead and generate it. But the main thing that you want to have with a policy is not only should it describe what the organization is doing to implement the controls and be broad enough to cover all the devices and all the different people in the organization, whether they be contractors or users or actual employees or HR department or testers or whoever, right? It's going to cover everything. So it has to be broad. It has to have that like lawyer speak where it's broad enough to cover all the different technologies and the different information and all that kind of stuff. That's the one thing. It has to be broad. Another thing is it has to be dated and signed off by the organization heads. They're the ones who have to sign off on it. That's not you, the cybersecurity person who does all this and then signs it, right? No, this is the organization as a whole. Not only documents the policy, I mean, you might help with it. You might even draft it. And then the thing is, it has to be signed off by somebody at a higher level. It has to go through 4 or 5 different levels of people because this policy is being done on behalf of the entire organization. That's something that you really got to keep in mind. It's not you who's doing it, right? It's the organization who has to take this on. I've written policies from scratch, but it's not me who's going to be the person endorsing it. I'm just writing it for them because I know what to put in there. And then I'll send it up to my boss who will be typically an information system security manager. And then that guy, he looks at it or she looks at it and says, okay, this is good, but can we add these other controls, right? They'll put their spin on it or whatever, and then it'll go to the next level. It'll make its way all the way up to like a CIO or a senior security person, and then they're the final say-so on it, or the CEO is the final say-so on it. Or you can have the authorization officer who's like the head of agency. They sign off on it and they say, yep, this is good. This policy is going to represent everything we do. And then you send that thing out to whoever needs to see it. And then finally, every year, usually they're updated annually. Every year you go through it again. You say, okay, it's still good. Nothing has really changed. Let's go ahead and update this thing. You update the dates on it. You know, if there's anything that needs to be changed, you'll change it and do the whole thing again. That's something that you do as a part of continuous monitoring, by the way.